Hello, my name is John Cleveland with Kleenoil USA, and what I'm going to tell you about today is a product called Kleenoil. This is a onboard oil recycling system that can be mounted literally to any engine or hydraulic transmission, or even differential fluid can be filtered with these systems. I have two models here, two of our most popular models. This is the KU50, which will filter up to 50 quarts of motor oil or up to 200 gallons of hydraulic fluid. This model here is the KU16, which will filter up to 16 quarts of oil in a system or 150 gallons of hydraulic fluid. Now, the two products are constructed with a stainless steel bracket and constructed of aluminum. The housing is aluminum and the bracket is stainless steel. The model that we're going to be demonstrating today is the KU16, and as I take the KU16 apart just to kind of show you the internal parts, and the real brain in this filtration system is our filter element. Now, this filter element is a specific type of paper that is only processed one time. It's not repulped over and over like typical toilet paper, although it does appear to look like a roll of toilet paper. And it's wound very, very tight. You can't even squeeze it. It's so tight. There's approximately 200 yards of filter paper on the KU50 and 100 yards of paper on the KU16. Now, our oil is actually going to be filtering between the windings of the filter and not through the side. And it's wound so tight that this filter, by adsorption, is going to take out particles down to 1 micron and 3 absolute, and it's also going to take 99.95% of the water out. We can't take 100% of the water out of the oil because in the combustion process and in condensation, water is always being generated. But we do total water removal once it passes through this filter. Now, on the bottom of the unit, you can see that it's cleated, and those cleats hold that filter approximately 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch above the filter as it sits down on top of that. So there's a cavity that builds up in the bottom here, and there's also a bevel on the bottom where that filter will actually seat. On the top, the lid is also beveled, and what happens is the top of the filter will actually crush down on the corners of this filter, and it'll actually force the oil to pass between the windings here. And literally millions and millions and millions of soot particles, dirt, wear metals are trapped by adsorption from passing through this. Now, we can only accomplish filtration down to 1 micron by slowing down the flow rate. And that's exactly what we do with the Kleenoil system. If you look at our construction here and also the chart that I'm going to show you, the flow rate of our system is only 3 quarts a minute. In contrast to the full flow filter, which will flow up to 80 quarts a minute, it has a large hole and 7 or 8 holes about the size of a pencil where that oil returns, and under 50 pounds of engine pressure, you're actually pushing close to 80 quarts a minute through that filter. The Kleenoil system, in contrast, you're only filtering 2 to 3 quarts a minute. And by slowing it down is how we get that oil purified in our system. So what happens is the oil will actually enter the unit from the inlet. It'll come up through the center of the hole right there in the center. It will travel through the center of the filter here in the cone. It will compress off the lid, and the filter actually forces the oil between the windings, which travel down through the center of the filter. The outlet is at the bottom here, which is below that cavity where that oil pressure builds up on the bottom of the filter, and it will return through the outlet back to the engine. Now, we use a stainless steel braided hose, and this actually will mount to the fitting on the bottom of the unit, and it'll also mount to the pressure side is where we bring the pressure in, and then we also have a return hose, so you actually have two hoses, and you will have two fittings very similar to the fittings on the bottom of the bowl here, which are JIC number 4, and a various size of fittings that will return to the engine block and will also return back the pressure side in and the return back to the engine block. You've got various different sizes of fittings that will actually go to the engine, and just one size of fittings that goes to the bottom of the bowl. Once the system is put together, there is also a sample port that is equipped on the top, which is a brass fitting that has a plunger valve in the bottom here. And when the lid is taken off, there is no oil flow until this little plunger that is set on top of this. This is called our sample probe that fits on the top of the unit. And as it is tightened, we can collect an oil sample very simply and cleanly without spilling a drop. And as we tighten it, we increase flow. As we loosen it, we take the flow away. So it's very, very clean and very easy to take the sample that you need. These samples are routinely taken in the place of an oil change, saving small companies thousands of dollars and large companies millions of dollars in motor oil that's perfectly good, as long as it's been cleaned and recycled through the Kleenoil filtration system. Okay, what I'm going to show you next is this chart here that illustrates the particles that the Kleenoil system is taking out that the full flow filter is missing. And tribologists and lubrication engineers across the world agree that it's the small particles that causes engine wear and causes most of your problems, not the larger particles. The small particles are illustrated down here, and these particles can range anywhere from 3 microns all the way up to 20 microns. And standard filtration is actually down to about 25 microns. And visible to the naked eye is anywhere from 35 to 45 microns. The average diameter of the human hair is somewhere between 60 and 75 microns. All the particles below 25 microns are passing through the full flow filter at a rate of 80 quarts a minute. The Kleenoil bypass filtration system takes all particles out from 25 microns down to 3 absolute and even down to 1 nominal. But 3 microns is about the level of a oil film when the engine is loaded. And anything under 3 microns is not causing any damage. So we definitely want to filter down to 3 microns, which is what the absolute level is, and we even take out 2 and 1 micron particles nominal. Now, the importance of that is this ISO 4406 chart over here illustrates a cleanliness standard put out by the International Standards Organization. Now, what this does is it actually tracks particles from 5 microns to 14 microns in this chart, on this column, and on this column here they track particles 15 microns and greater. The significance of the ISO 4406 is to count the particles that are related to wear, and that's why they're not concerned with particles 25 to 50, 50 to 100. Brand new oil out of the jar, brand new oil out of the can, pail, drum is going to meet an 1815 in most cases. What happens when you start your engine and start putting miles or hours on your equipment, the ISO code starts to pick up more dirt, more soot, more carbon, and the cleanliness starts to move upward. With a Kleenoil bypass filtration system installed, we actually take the brand new oil, and because brand new oil is not perfectly clean, it has 1,300 to 2,500 5 micron particles per milliliter, and it has anywhere from 160 to 320 15 and greater micron particles. So brand new oil, contrary to popular belief, is not perfectly clean. After it passes through our system, we actually filter 4 to 5 times cleaner than the standards of brand new motor oil. And that's exactly what we're trying to do, is get your oil down here in this level of cleanliness. Now the benefits of that is that you can actually extend oil drain intervals 4 to 5 times with a Kleenoil system alone, and with an additive package that we sell separately called Power Up, we can even take those, extend those oil drains 8 to 10 times. And all this obviously is considered on the conditions and the conditions that the equipment is operating in, but this is the average and the norms. We've actually done engines and extended oil drains 20 times, but we're just trying to deal with averages here today. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is how these particles relate to wear. When the full flow filter allows these particles through, most engine, the film, oil film, between the moving metal parts in your engine actually compress and expand in the range of 3 microns to 15 microns, depending on the load that the engine is under. And what happens is those particles that the full flow filter allows through just as freely as the oil get trapped in between these surfaces, causing abrasion and wear, as you can see photographed here on these bearings. This is a bearing here taken out of a Cat 3406 with close to 200,000 miles on it without Kleenoil on a truck pulling a tandem milk truck trailer. And this is the same bearings out of the same truck with a Kleenoil system installed on it with 1.8 million miles on it. And you can see the difference in between the two photographs here in wear. The last thing that I want to talk about is the mounting of the system. The brackets here are made from stainless steel, and you always mount to the frame, never to the engine, and you always want to mount in a place where it's easy access to get to. But the small compact size of our system and the KU50 make it easy, and some of the competitor systems are 3 to 4 times the size of our system here. Okay, well that's pretty much everything that I had to tell you today. To find out more on how to run all your equipment on Kleenoil all the time, or to find your nearest local distributor, visit our website at www.kleenoilusa.com or call us at 1-800-897-6937. And remember, go green, keep it clean, and make green the new color of your bottom line.